Well, hey everybody, this is Don from the vlog of many things. Getting a drink from my wife. Thank you, Tina. Eric, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, doing good. I've got my rock star.
Ah,
Ooh.
Scott, how you doing tonight? And better late than never by 30 seconds.
Oh, that's why I like to get an early jump because look at this. My camera setup is shitty. I don't restream twice a week like you guys.
How about this? How about if I put you in the? Why don't you get your camera situated? I'll put you in the side room real quick. Let you get your camera situated. You come back on, okay?
Nah, it's as good as it gets. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good as it gets. As everybody sees tonight, we have the illustrious Jim Wampler on the show with us tonight. Jim, how you
The
doing?
one, the only.
Just got my car dug out from the snow yesterday. Made my own peanut butter for the first time, and I've got a Pullman bread pan showing up from Amazon any minute.
Oh, I saw you made peanut butter, didn't you?
Big day.
Wait, how much snow did you get?
It varied wildly across the county, but I shoveled about 11 inches off my car this afternoon.
Oh, God bless you.
Oh, we got like 3 or 4. So
It's Ohio. We get punched like that every few winters.
I took the broom out. All right, so that's how I took. I just took the broom out and.
I had a neighbor on a balcony who was very entertained by me and my little bachelor broom and a fluorescent right angle I've had at my drawing table for 20 years out there. Getting it all out
gotcha. Well, Scott, Thietis, Rod, how y'all doing tonight? Rod says, "Hey, at least Jim doesn't have to type his responses."
He's a professional. He could type.
Actually, I'm the world's worst typist. I'm about 40 words a minute on a good day with these fingers. and mild dyslexia. Back when I was a journalist in my 20s, even with these fingers, I was much faster and more accurate, but I'm old now.
Jerry Tell says there's not much snow in Northwest Ohio yet. I think it kind of it's like last weekend. Me and Tina swung by Eric and Rachel's house, and it was beautiful out. And then on the way home, we hit really shitty weather, and it was a strip. It was just a big long strip of bad weather, and then we got up to Michigan, and Michigan didn't hit hardly anything. So that's unusual because usually we get the crappy weather because of lake effect.
Right.
At my day job, we had a team in Washington, D.C. over the weekend for a giant convention. I don't even know what the convention itself was supposed to be about, but it was a good reason for us to present our neurovisual training technology and then our PhD, Dr. Clark, and they raced the snow home Sunday.
Gotcha. Well, we got lucky, so except we hit it, and there's a bunch of idiots in ditches and semi trucks and bad stuff happening all around us. But I'm from Michigan. I just drive carefully. So
Don, I talk to you all the time. Eric, it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Fine,
it's good to talk to you. I see you all the time.
All right.
Your face is inescapable on social media.
I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I'm gonna hope. I guess if you like me, it's good, and if you dread me, it isn't.
Well, your photo's not on the post office wall, so that's a good thing.
Well, I mean, look at Don. Don has got a face and a voice for doing this, right? And he's got the carefully lit background, and you and I are on here with 2 faces for radio.
Oh God, yes. I mean,
come on! I am on here with 2 very sexy men.
Well, there's a difference between attractive and sexy, if you know what I mean.
I'm just verifying, and making sure.
You know,
trust me, I was never
hit the lotto for a few million, and you'll get sexy fast.
Oh yeah, I've seen some very, very, very quick, sexy men who wins the lotto. It's amazing what they attract. But those women were always there for them. They were just waiting.
Of course, man. Of course.
So
this is great. I can, this way on this platform you're using to do this episode, I can see all the commenters in the chat instead of just from one channel.
Well, what's nice about this is that's why I like about Restream, Jim, is that you can actually select where everybody in every single channel's chat comes on, so everybody else can see it too, and everybody knows what everybody's saying and all that good stuff. So.
Oh, and the good news is I quit smoking. It's been 3 weeks ago now, so I'm not as spicy as I was a couple of weeks ago.
Good.
God bless you, my son.
That's one more thing. I gave up gin, redheads, and gluten, and now it's that. Don's a youngster, Eric. It's just
Wow.
getting older is an ongoing process of
Hey,
giving up
Jim.
things you used to
Hey,
could
did
eat,
you want to know
sleep with, or
real
drink.
quick? Me and Eric are the same age.
Oh,
I beat him by like a few months. That's about it. That's about it.
Do I
know.
look like a baby here or what?
It's that clean hair you got there, so it's like that.
no. I just had to go through this with my nephew who's 32 and contemplating shaving his beard, and he thinks that's going to make him look younger again. And I'm like, at your age, it will, but let me warn you, there's a bell curve. At a certain age, when you shave, you look older because this beard is hiding a bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
No, definitely. The problem with me is the gray hairs. Once you get the gray hairs, they're just theirs.
It is what it is. I embrace it.
And thanks, Scott Mulder, on the congratulations for quitting smoking. It was a long battle. I gave up cigars about 6 years ago and just gave up vape, but I am chewing some nicotine gum right now just so I can be a good guest.
Gotcha. Jim, brought you on because I want to talk a bit about a few things that that I think that not many people really get into discussing with you. Everybody knows you from Gary Con, and everybody knows that you and Tim go up to Gary Con together and such. But we know about Mudpuppy Games, but I think a lot of people don't know that you have a comic book that you wrote, one that I personally love, and that is Marvin the Mage.
Well, you're very kind. I mean, it's only been a comic book in the last 10 or 15 years, but it was a comic strip. It was a character I created for my own amusement in 1979, the second I started playing D&D.
So tell what brought it on. I mean, tell us about Marvin the Mage and any future plans for Marvin or anything like that.
Well, we'll start with the last question first. People are on me all the time. When are you going to do more Marvin the Mage? The second I can figure out how Marvin pays the rent, I'm in. If somebody wants to hand me, a salary to do it, I'm all in because I love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to do what you got to do. The luxurious life of an RPG designer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, I count it as a major victory that my day job is only 20 hours a week. Oh, somebody wants to join the podcast.
Ah, Mary. Mr. Gunn, how you doing?
But, when you're a teenager and you're a cartoonist, you just constantly crank out cartoons. So as soon as I got all swept up into D&D, I mean, you guys are old enough to remember what it was like back then when it was a very esoteric pursuit that you embraced and then immediately began to evangelize like mad to anybody that would listen.
Mm-hmm.
Especially my age, I was 18 in 79, so I was out of high school. I didn't have to. I'd already spent high school being a social pariah just by virtue of being a Star Trek nerd and watching Space 1999, and we had a little high school club that made our own Super 8 science fiction movies.
Yeah.
But so go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, I love Marvin the Mage. I mean,
thank you.
You helped me get the comic books, the whole set. And, I just like the whole vibe of him. I mean, he's kind of wacky, zany. And I know that, like you say, you got to pay the bills with it. I get it. But, just a suggestion is just something, if you worked on something for about 20 minutes a day, unless you're like me, you just can't work on something 20 minutes a day. You get kind of sucked into it and,
Well, let's talk about all the elephants in the room. Since you bring it up, I've taken that suggestion in a different way. A artist that I am both work with and use in Scientific Barbarian all the time, Travis Hansen. Most people would know him from the webcomic Life of the Party. He's a fantastic artist, but he's also just the best dude ever. And he's been nagging. This book is now 9 months late, and it will be likely close to a year late before it gets out. And Travis offered to be my accountability buddy starting about 3 weeks ago. And that was the plan. There was that this major article where I did everything stupid because it's my favorite source of humor is smart people that do incredibly dumb things. And I could be the president of that club. I already turned what should just be a straightforward 75, 80 page zine into a little mini splat book. And then because I wanted to do this Thundar issue, the feature article that I put right on the cover is how to play Thundar the Barbarian in your favorite RPG. And that required an author who was equally familiar with 5th edition, Dungeon Crawl Classics and Mutant Crawl Classics, and Gamma World or OSR. And I couldn't find anybody that hit all 3 marks, and I myself don't hit all 3 marks. And the one poor guy who was too dumb not to step back when I asked for volunteers was Mark Hunt. So Mark Hunt wrote 8,000 words. I had some
Mark
notes.
did that?
Yeah.
Mark is a hell of a good guy. I'll tell you what, Mark is
I love
a
him.
gem.
I love him.
Yeah.
And look forward to it. But he turned in 8,000 words, and it was great content, but it wasn't structured the way I wanted it. So I sent it back, and it came back 10,000 words, and still not structured. And that's no bang on Mark. It just because he wrote fantastic content. I don't know if you've ever taken 10,000 words and tried to turn it inside out and reorganize
I write novels. It's not easy.
I even tried printing it out on 8.5 by 11 sheets and covering Tim Cass's pool table with it and handing Tim a big highlighter and going, and a pair of scissors. Let's go. Because in my head, that's what they did with the little brown books.
Man, right there, handing Tim. Here you go. Here's free reign over the content.
And Tim helped, but it still didn't work. So this will be an update for the backers because I've kind of said it in more condensed terms. I whistled in Tim Snyder, who wrote for Savage Afterworld, wrote thing, and bought the rights from him, so I could mishmash them together. And then in that process, I got involved, and now it's a 14,000 word article. And Travis came in to be my accountability buddy, so I do just what you said, get as much writing as I could done every day, and just knock out a little piece. And it took 3 weeks, and we finally got it done. And now I'm finalizing the layout for the issue with Travis's help. So it's not like I'm adverse to the advice you're giving. It's just,
Jim, we got a problem here.
What's the matter?
We have a stalker that showed up.
Bring him in.
Oh boy, the stalker. Tim, how you doing?
Yeah, here's my answer.
Double Dwarven salute, right?
No, I've just got a single now. I got to use the mouse with the other one.
And everybody, Mr. Tim Kask has joined us.
Thanks for showing up, Tim, so I can go back to being the young guy instead of the old man.
Oh,
here's one for you too.
Real quick, Scott Mulder, Jim asks, where are your products available at?
Mudpuppygames.com and DriveThruRPG.com.
And I suggest that you buy the Marvin the Mage comics where they're available at, if you can get your paws on, because for those who have not read Marvin the Mage, I'm just going to say it one last time. And Mr. Wampler below is not going to probably believe me. He's going to blow smoke up his ass, but I think that is probably one of the finest fantasy comedic comics I've ever read in my life. It's true.
Well, you're entirely kind. And Tim's prejudiced because he appears on the inside cover of some of those books.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I love it. I wish you'd write more, but I understand.
Yeah. So, Jim, I got Jim and Tim. Oh. So, how is everybody this evening, guys?
I got a jar of peanut butter in my fridge with your name on it, Tim.
Oh boy.
It's very tasty.
And I was going to say something before Tim came on, but I'd just go ahead and say it right now. I talked to Tim last night on the phone, and we're going to be doing something. I'm going to be coming down to Tim's neighborhood here over the next few weeks, and I might be bringing the D20 Delving test version down, and we're going to play the D20 Delving test version, do a little video of it, and kind of show people while we're waiting for my 320 GSM to come in from China. Please show up for soon. And kind of
speaking of late projects, let he who is without sin throw the first D20.
Well, I want to chime in an independent endorsement of what he just said. I've seen 2 other company Kickstarters have to send out delay notices for the exact same thing, cardstock from China.
Yeah.
So it's not just you, but there's a couple of other they were high-profile games that are now on indefinite hold because of the paper screw-up. And in fact, one of them outlined a series of instances that sounded exactly what happened to you and I, Don, a while back, with it sitting in the warehouse. Nobody had the paperwork. It got sent back. It got
Yeah.
sent here. It got sent there. And they never ended.
And there's a thing now that U.S. Customs is doing just for those creators out there. And Jim, you may want to know about this too. I don't know if you know about it or not. But effective January 1, the way Customs is doing is because they have such a influx of material in their holding centers. And even if they don't get to it and it's their fault, 90 days, it gets sent back.
Ooh.
Why is it a big deal that I have a metal chair?
What's that?
I don't know. It seems to be a deal. I've entered the chat and he's got a metal chair. Has somebody got this thing wired or what?
I don't understand the reference. Maybe
I don't either.
Maybe he means like
Timcast has
metal.
into the chat. He's got a metal chair. Oh, I don't know. Thyatis, clear it up, would you two, buddy? Thyatis is a regular in here. He is not a VGA PMI 1874-3856 guy. He's one of the good guys.
He's been banned inadvertently.
Oops.
And we managed to not bring that asshole up for the first 17 minutes.
There we go.
No, it's all right. He's got his other issues he's dealing with. I think he's gone now. It was a wrestling joke, Tim.
Oh.
Or yeah, Tim. So.
Okay.
I don't do wrestling.
Yeah, but that's what Customs is doing. They're holding material for the email that I got was a maximum of 90 days. In some extenuating circumstances, they'll hold it up to 120. But at that point, they do send it back to sender. And then I asked my Customs rep, I was like, well, what happens if it's just because of you jerks there and it's not my fault? And she said that that's what they're pissed off about, is that they don't care. They're sending it back. And I'm like, so that's going to really go over well. And it's just anticipation of these tariffs that they're thinking about that are going to be happening. They're not going to wait for importers to go, I'm going to pay the tariff or I'm not. And it's just a big mess. And it's going to hurt people like me because I have to prepay for everything. I don't have a credit account with Feng Shui or Hunan. I have to sit there and pay in full. So what happens when my stuff's sent back and I want it back? I got to pay shipping again. This is going to be a mess.
It's the dark underbelly of overseas manufacturing. Is if anything goes wrong, you have little to no recourse. It happened to me when I got stupid and decided to do glow-in-the-dark dice for a Kickstarter, and I had done everything correctly. Found my manufacturer, gotten the bids, everything's good to go. The Kickstarter funded like no tomorrow. Now it's time to place the order, and they're like, oops, sorry, we're out of 2 of the colors. We'll need to do a whole run that you'll have to pay for, which would have wiped the Kickstarter out. So I was staring down the barrel of a full refund to the backers, or try to remember I'm a smart human being and managed to scrape together the colors from warehouses in China that stocked their stuff.
Yep. And that's the sad part about it.
In answer to the one comment about the people who invented paper are out, it's an exceedingly specific paper.
Yes. It's 320 GSM cardstock. It's the black core.
It is the preferred only cardstock that works without multiple ass pains, and everybody orders it at the same time. And the people in China are too stupid to remember that from year to year and have more waiting on hand. But I can say that because I'm pretty sure China's not watching this, and if they are, well, I got 2 for you, China.
Well, Tim's the OG about overseas shipping and printing.
Yeah.
They did that back in the day.
Well, God. Hell, I can remember when mailing anything to Canada was like just pushing it over the transom into another office and wondering who will come by when and see it. And then sometimes you could send something to Canada and it get there 4 or 5 days. Sometimes you sent the same damn thing to Canada and it took 2.5 weeks.
Well, that's the problem that you're running into right now. The problem with 320 GSM, just for people who go, what's so special about it, is 320 GSM Black Core is basically like a poker card game stock, and it has a very thin layer of this gray material in it. And it's used by casinos for poker cards, and it's used most of all by Wizards of the Coast for Pokemon, and the manufacturers of Pokemon, for Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Disney Lorcana. So it is like the prime thing, and especially around the holidays, because these big companies, I only get a pallet, maybe two. These companies will buy literally when they order, because they don't have it shipped, but they pre-order it, even though they're manufacturing in China. They'll order 25,000 pallets.
Oh yeah, and if you're a mega corp like Hasbro, you want to lock it down and get the exclusive. If you
That's
can,
what they do.
that's a business strategy. Is shut everybody else out.
Well, and they make deals with these companies going, it doesn't matter who's on order right now. If we need it and you cancel their order, if we got to have our stock, that's for us to buy from you. And they cater to them because they're like the Walmart of the business over there. So it is what it is. I mean, it's
no, Hasbro
sadly,
are the hookers down on the corner next to the CD bar.
Yeah, it's bad. And
I can only speak for myself, but I kind of adore the rough and tumbleness that's still present in the game publishing business. We're still the fair-headed stepchild, at the niche end of a dying industry, which is print altogether.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. But the problem is when you also make stuff. If I was just like ordering stuff from China, games and stuff, and have them shipped here, that'd be one thing. But because I want to make my stuff, because I can do it cheaper that way, I have to be an importer of materials, paper and cardstock and all that. And that's the problem here. And let me tell you about how it is in this country. You go to a local printer who has it and says, "Hey, can you help a fellow out here?" They're like, and it's like, "Oh, thanks for the help." You know what I mean? And these are companies that you may have helped in the past with doing printing for them and such. But when it's time to get a little help back, they give you a big middle finger and say, "Screw you. Cut, dog eat dog."
No, we're not saying that Vegas has run out of cards.
Yeah, no, they're good. I mean, they're good on their stuff. They're one of the ones that have priority. These security companies that make cards for casinos and such.
Oh yeah, there's the infamous Heinz move. Yep, I saw that. I read about that. They bought all the glass jars and threw them in the river so nobody else could have glass jars.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just an internet legend.
Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was alluded to on a History Channel thing, and I think I saw more direct.
I mean, I'm well known as a Mac boy. I love my Macs, and Apple is among the worst companies on the planet for if they can lock a chip manufacturer down or a display manufacturer down and shut everybody else out, they'll do it like that because it's good business for them.
Well, yeah, if you're the only one on the block who can do it, why not? So, Jim, just real quick. So, Scientific Barbarian,
let me slip in and thank Scott Mulder in chat. He said he just went to the store to buy some stuff. Thank you, because Mudpuppy Games is about 50% of my income, and I end every email with "Thank you for supporting our products." I mean,
good deal.
And buying cat food for Mary.
That's right.
Cat food.
That's the version she gets. Sorry, can't play it right now this afternoon. I've got to make the cat food.
Oh, you're making it now?
No. But who knows?
I see. You're earning the cat food now. I got you. Yeah. Okay.
That's where you go to get the goodies. Go to mudpuppygames.com and order bunches of stuff. So,
I'll tell you about how I cracked international shipping, because I worked as a full-time employee for Goodman Games for a couple of years, was a partner at Fruckhot Games for a couple of years after that. And prior to that, the first version of Mudpuppy Games, the 4th edition of Metamorphosis Alpha, I had printed over at Regent in Hong Kong. So it's not like I'm unfamiliar, but international shipping has defeated everybody I've seen. And my dodge that I only can squeeze through this door because of my product is a small digest-sized paperback book, essentially, was to do it through Amazon, KDP. Because then, if you order it in New Zealand or Japan or Germany or wherever you're at, Amazon prints it there, and the quality is 90% as good as what I would otherwise get myself.
Interesting.
But the shipping, their shipping cost ends up being like $8 instead of $26 for a $15 book.
And that's the plus with Amazon.
You remember when we were doing Gygax magazine, sending one $6.95 or $9.95, whatever the hell we sold it for, copy to Australia was $14 American in postage.
Mm-hmm.
So Oddly enough, we
That
didn't
was so,
have
so
any
long ago, I forgot. You and
exciting.
I were co-founders in TSR number 2, which has nothing to do with the more recent TSR.
Right.
No, this was a company ran with integrity and dignity and ethics.
And broke. See,
I want is
we have
TSR just
cleaned
like
all those
cursed?
virtues. Money does not stick very well.
Not on those 3 initials, it seems.
Yeah. So
Mr. Gunn in chat, yes, I'll do another annual as soon as I get 4 more issues out the door. So this one gets out, that'll be 2.
So what's this issue contain, Jim? The newest scientific barbarian.
Oh, come on, Tim.
I don't know.
Let Tim
Okay,
get it off his chest first. For the
go ahead. Go
8
ahead,
millionth
Tim.
time, go ahead. Have you learned your lesson yet?
It contains Jim's most profound lesson to date. And
Overweening pride and ambition.
No. I hope you learned a lesson.
Paying
on
peanuts,
that.
so I'm not
With it
comfortable
often
sending an
enough.
article back to the author 20 times. Get it the right word count.
Well, or just tell everybody up front, don't even think about anything over this number because it ain't going to happen. I did that.
Well, the answer is yes, I learned my lesson. And what was the question?
I learned that in my very, very early days of Dragon and Little Wars because people would send you a ream of paper article, especially the guys for Little Wars, the armor twitchers and the historians. I get 40 typewritten pages of an article they wanted me to publish. 40 pages. No. Now, the funny thing is, a bunch of them ended up being talking heads on the Military Channel and the History Channel years later in their careers.
damn.
Nice.
A whole bunch of I worked with a whole bunch of those guys. It was amazing every time one of them popped up. Oh, he didn't look like that then, but yeah. There's a couple of very, very well known in their fields writers that were sending me articles when they were in college, just finding an outlet for what they did.
And this is why Tim is an invaluable asset. Even he's listed in the credits as a consulting editor of Scientific Barbarian. Does Tim copy edit articles? Hell no. Tim's in his 70s. What Tim does is look at the book and give me thumbs up and thumbs down, and then, much more important, a whole world of wider publishing experience. I have access to we're like a married couple anyway. We talk once a day on the phone.
Shh, we weren't going to talk about that.
Oh, heterosexual life mates.
Yeah,
heterosexual life mates. Oh my God, I gotta get a T-shirt that says
we're each other's wingman. That's all it needs to be said.
Besides this with Tim, what else is in Scientific Barbarian?
I'm sorry, you're asking such good questions, and we're not answering any of them.
That's right.
The issue, which is also available for pre-order, and the lights at the end of the tunnel, so it's going to the printers here in a month or two. Is all themed around Thundar the Barbarian. I did my legal homework and figured out how to do that the correct way that doesn't earn me a C&D. And there are other things in there. The best fiction piece I've ever published is in this particular issue by the author Scott Robinson. It's a killer freaking piece. It came in long.
I read that one long time ago. That was good.
Yeah, and it was long, but who cares? It's good. That's the mistake I keep making.
Don't care.
Travis Hansen is in there, and Jolly Blackburn with cartoon art. There's a bunch of standard features. I can't remember if Tim has anything in this one or not.
I don't think so.
A big article by James M. Spahn, who just launched that giant giant Kickstarter for White Box Encyclopedia.
That's doing really good now too, isn't it?
About 26K, yeah.
Yeah. He's I can tell you right now, he's going to land between 45 and 50K, which is huge for him.
Yeah.
He wrote an article in this issue called Science and Sorcery that's just all about how you can use the post-apocalyptic genre in role-playing games to take advantage of both Arthur C. Clarke's idea that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and a little Jack Vance in on the side.
Very nice.
Nice. And for a little bit of side news, did you guys hear about the big news update about the 2023 Gen Con card theft?
No.
to the two Yahoos.
Oh, did they finally nail those guys? They walked out with a
Oh, no.
pallet of magic
Oh
cards.
no, they nailed them fine, but something's going on because one of them they're going to trial on the 28th. Matter of fact, it is they are going to they have pre-trial on the 23rd and their trial is on the 29th. This has been delayed now by their attorneys several times. I actually called the courthouse and was able to get information on this direct. They evidently the Dunbar filed a personal protection order against Guami, so I smell a
somebody's flipped.
plea deal in the works.
Somebody.
And that's it.
That's how you do it, right, Eric? You tell them both. They both turned on each other, and then one of them actually does, right?
Listen, whoever turns first gets the deal.
Yep.
Right. That's what it comes down to, and a lot of times it's a game of chicken. But this is a game of chicken that apparently is coming to fruition.
And the funny thing is they asked for another continuance to bump the trial again. The judge said, absolutely not. This has been delayed enough. This is happening on the 29th of January. But the funny part is it's a level 5 felony. Now, I don't know.
The cash value on a pallet of magic cards must be through the roof.
They sold, it was $196,000 in magic cards that they stole. So, but it's a class 5 felony, and the problem or a level 5 felony. The problem is, a level 5 felony is not a very serious felony in Indiana. I guess it's like the low end. And the way the lady told me was, it's basically equivalent to stealing copper out of a scrapyard. Even though it's a felony, with nobody with a criminal record, these guys ain't going to see any jail or prison time. They're going to get probation anyways. So, I mean, you steal $200,000 worth of product from a company, and you're going to basically get probation.
Besides the outright criminality of the theft, they also screwed it up. I don't go to Gen Con anymore, but I used to be a job requirement. When I worked at Goodman Games, I've got to go work the booth. And the problem was I'd have a badge waiting for me inside the dealer room, but I need the badge to get in to pick up the badge. And I had a Dodge. Joe Goodman could never figure out how I would just show up and get my badge. And it was coming in through the loading docks where everybody's just out there smoking and shooting the shit. And you do that for a little while, and then you walk in with no badge and go get your badge.
That's the interesting part, how they got access. And because I read the police report.
They essentially stole those cards that way. They just walked in loading docks from outside.
Well, no, actually, it was different. They got through the loading dock, but how they did it is they waited outside the door, and another individual who had key card access to the loading dock was walking through, and they held a box and said, hey, can you get the door for me? That's how they got in, literally. So, and they're wearing their company game T-shirt, one of them was. They didn't have a mask or nothing on. Here they are walking with a big pallet, full of magic cards, through the entire convention hall, all these cameras. So, hey, one of them is...
Bold will win more often than sneaky, covert, or whatever in high school to prove to the owner of a sporting goods store that it could be done. A buddy and I walked out with a 14-foot wooden canoe out of his sporting goods store and took it around to the back door and said, oh, hi, gee, look at this.
Wow.
We just picked it up. We put paddles in it. We put some life jackets in it. Just, like, hey, we just got this. Hoisted it up between us and carried it out through the front door.
They say, though, that's, if you're bold and you act like you're knowing what you're doing and you act like you belong there or that you're doing fine, usually people won't confront you.
Well, of course, mine was over 50 years ago. Right, but I would hope that they've gotten better by now.
It's the whole idea of confidence, man, right? It's having confidence.
Yeah, the basics don't change. The technology might, but...
Right.
You look like you belong there. You melt into the crowd like a person in camo melting into the bushes, and you can do a lot of things back then. Now, that's a back dock.
Yeah.
Okay. Admittedly, that's a really weak, loose, porous place.
Right.
It's not like going in the front door of a sporting goods store and walking out with a
But Tim, who the hell? I mean, you
I feel like
think
we're
that
conducting a
WotC
class on how to break in Gen Con.
Yeah.
Let's
Well, I
not
mean,
do that.
what amazes me though is okay. Wizards of the Coast has these hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of game product. Ain't there anybody watching that shit?
No, because who's going to break in and steal it?
True.
All right, that was the only pallet back there that had an intrinsic value of that much money.
Right.
You know, who's going to steal 400 copies of Russian Front or, you know, a board game of?
I don't know. Not me.
You know, I'm saying, but you know, Magic cards, they already have and how many specials were in there?
Yeah. Well, that's the value of the Magic cards is the cards and the whatever's there. I don't play the game, so I don't know.
I don't either.
So, but
To my secret shame, I made the semifinals of the Magic the Gathering tournament in Orlando in 1998.
Damn. All right. God bless you. I had beta cards, but then I sold all the ones that were valuable, and the ones that weren't went through the wash. So I don't have beta cards anymore.
Oh,
I've been reprimanded though, so I can no longer tell the story in public about who I knocked out of an Ace of Aces tournament at CincyCon '82.
Okay, who'd you do it to? Come on.
Nor can you ever reference it again.
Oh,
Okay,
you
the
mentioned
agreement
it
was just
on
modified.
the show.
I already had a few wins, and he shot me down. Okay, end of story. Big deal.
Tim, have we discovered
If I
the
get
reason
him
why you
on
don't
the
like the
game
game?
board and fight in the skies, I'll tell you who's going to be the first smoking pile of rubble. I don't care if he's on my side. Oops, got my firing solution. Where have I heard that before?
The joke, Tim, is you give me some AD&D spells and a magic user, and I'll break the adventure, but I can't play my way out of wet paper sack when it comes to traditional war games. So I with your kindness, you let me in the semifinals of the old Gary Kahn Circus Maximus tournament. I had a pass. I could go straight to the final game. I don't know, 3 or 4 years in a row, and I can't win that game. So how do I have fun? Well, once it's clear I can't win the game, I turn my chariot around and run the track backwards and see who I can take. I start deciding who's going to win.
Nice.
Well, that never happened in one of my games. But yeah, okay.
Oh, I ran Luke down because the next year he couldn't wait to run me down. It totally happened.
Yes. Well, that was a debacle 2 years running.
Well, since I have 3 brilliant minds here next to me, I have to ask a question of everybody. It's 2025, okay?
It is? Oh, yeah.
It is.
Damn.
So what? Oh, see, he gets the special effects. I can't get that shit to work on my camera.
No. There's one with thumbs up that sometimes works for me, but not. Oh, I got to use the other camera. All right, never mind.
You got to get your somatic and audible components straight.
Gotcha. Well, my question is this, gentlemen, is what are some of your predictions that's going to happen in the gaming industry in general, good or bad or indifferent? What are some predictions for 2025?
Hasbro Watsy's going to implode with this gambling shit.
Ooh.
Okay, gambling stuff. I don't think, though, Tim, it's like what people are making it out to be. I don't think it's going to be gambling as in available to kids. I actually talked to one of the individuals that's working on the project. And
it read to me like it would just be you go to Vegas and walk in a casino and there's the Golden Girls slot machine. Like that?
Yeah, it's going to be adult. It's going to be oriented for adults. It's going to be for adults. It's not going to have it's not going to be.
I mean, for a family game, that doesn't make it any more savory for me. But still, that's not the end of the world either.
Well, I don't believe that it's going to be the savior, the save all.
No.
Hasbro's revenue has dropped over 30% over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
From their glory days. I see this as a desperation, license. If that it ends up being is licensing deal on slot machines in the hardware store in Reno. Okay, good luck with that. people don't give a shit what the theme is. They just want something to put their money in and pull a lever. Nowadays, push a button.
But bro, how do you?
Somebody in chat said Abe's, Babes, and Rollerblades will finally have its day. That's my prediction. As Hasbro continues to shoot itself in the foot, so regular you could set your watch by it, the independent publishing industry is going to have a field day. Yeah, so for my little end of the market and our little end of the market, it's nothing but thumbs up.
Yeah, I think that WotC is going to wind up. You know how they took that like huge loss on their E1 television and movie division?
Oh yeah,
WotC is going to take a huge loss on their VTT. It's not going to be hitting even the end of the 2024 release cycle. It's not going to be out by the time the Munster Manual is out. And they put so much money into something that they conceived of during COVID. So short of this world shutting down for another year, they're not going to catch that lightning in the bottle that they banked their business on, and it's going to fall flat, just like D&D 4 fell flat, and their VTT there was vaporware.
Well, they've already shown that they just basically fuck up anything that they touch that are basically golden eggs, like with the 50th. They did nothing special for the 50th. I mean, they could have made tens of millions of dollars, in my opinion, by just putting out a D&D 1E special limited box set. That would have sold like hotcakes. I mean,
I don't know if it'll be 2025,
like man right there.
There'll definitely be a management and regime change because they all
think so.
They were hoisted on their own petards because the assignment was go monetize D&D, and they failed to do that.
Yeah.
It's
microtransactions aren't going to save them.
My guess would be sometime in the next few years they get sold, and it won't be Elon Musk. It'll be Disney or somebody that sucks up all the IP anyway, if not the actual toys and games.
Well, the problem I think with WotC also is what they do is they announce they're going to do something, and then there's other companies that then do the same thing, but they do it better. There's a lot better virtual tabletop experiences out there than theirs. That are easier to use, cheaper to use. That are just better all the way. Real quick, Fugly says prediction 2. He says WotC VTT popular in future Mars colonies. It's got to be popular somewhere, because does anyone here know real quick how popular is WotC's VTT versus others? Like, what's the numbers?
Well, it's not. Well, here's the thing: WotC's VTT hasn't released yet. It's still in beta.
I was going to say it's not out.
No,
what I'm talking about I'm talking about like the current. How do I want to put this? How do I want to put this?
The packages they do for Roll20 and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know if the, what do you call it, D&D 2024 is selling like hotcakes. But here's the thing. Up through COVID, Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds used to release their usage numbers. And then they spiked huge with COVID, and they had all these excited posts about it and all these blog posts about it and showing off the numbers. And then once the numbers started retreating, no more OR reports from Roll20, no more reports from Fantasy Grounds. So I'm going to guess that the numbers are retreated to right around what we were pre-COVID, which means WotC is not going to be getting any of that bump that they were hoping to.
No.
VTT. And I'm saying this as a VTT player. I use Roll20 for a lot of the gaming because my gaming groups throughout the country, and that's fine. But I'm also, if I'm running a game, I'm a minimalist. I use Fog of War with a map and a pointer. I don't use handouts. I don't use counters.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be in the mind, even if I'm playing on the screen. I don't need WotC giving me Mortal Kombat death throws for different creatures as I kill them.
Well, management has a fundamental misunderstanding of what the game even is in the first place. And, I mean, Is it interesting to talk about? Sure. Is it easy in 2025 to get into a bunch of faux outrage like we've all been trained by social media to do now? Sure. But I mean, we're all old enough. This is like coming up on the third lap around the track. We've seen what happens when the owners of D&D bring in management that don't understand what they're managing and and start getting rid of core creators. I mean, WotC's fired all their creatives basically at this point. So what can they do with, top-heavy management and a bunch of computer programmers?
D&D is $1 billion IP. Come on. If you say it often enough, it's like Peter Pan. You got to believe it, right?
That's a great boardroom pitch, but it's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else do you guys are thinking in the like? Okay, taking Wizard of the Coast out of it. What about smaller creators? And when I say smaller, I'm talking about everyone from, Paizo on down, like even the big guys, but let me back up. Non-WotC creators. What are what do you think some predictions are for companies like that and such?
Well, some of them are going to ride the coattails and continue to put out third-party material to be used with other games. There's a market there if you're good at it, if you've got a process and a procedure that you can churn out 3 or 4 of those a year for a given game or for 2 each for 2 games, you'll continue to make money. It's going to get tougher and tougher for anything new to crack the market.
Until it does, because like I said, we've been through this before. I mean, Paizo was a little bitty company and nobody had heard of Pathfinder until 4th edition D&D drove people to Pathfinder. Then they created their own competition. Okay, that's the fragmentation of the market has already happened with Kobold Press and Paizo and everybody and their mother coming up with their own system. All it takes is one of those to be a giant hit, and now the cycle starts again.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, nobody was playing D&D. Everybody was jumping to Pathfinder.
And I think what you're going to see also is I think you're going to see a really big uptick, not so much new game systems, but I think even more so you're going to see ancillary products for existing game systems, like for 5e or for other existing games out there. I just think that you're going to like adventure modules and ancillary products like that. I think you're going to see a really huge bump in that.
Somewhere in some corner of the universe nobody's paying attention to, there's some group of people working on stuff they're not supposed to work on that are going to have a eureka moment. And maybe it's not even tabletop role playing. Maybe it's like when Magic happened. It's something will come out of nowhere.
Maybe it's a new board game.
Yeah. Board games are doing great right now.
And that's the whole thing behind, I think, is the innovation behind it. Is what you have to do is you have to be willing to, think a little bit outside the box, or sometimes really outside the box. You got
to do something brand new, or you got to take something old and make it a whole hell of a lot better.
Yeah,
and that's fair. That to do that second one is to do something better, because if it truly is, you'll sell, and if you were wrong, you won't.
Yeah, I can't. I'm anxious. Like I said, I'm anxious to see what's coming, because there's just so many new creators are coming up also, and just from what I can read, the limited things that they post, there's some really good ideas out there. It's just, can they take it from idea and bring it to fruition and get it into a form where they can bring it to market? That's the big thing.
Well, there's a new trend out there that I've just picked up on in the last few days, or at least it's a new attempt that I won't go into detail here because I plan to talk about it in about 2 hours when I make my next curmudgeon. That I just call we'll call it the revival of dollhouses. And I'll leave it at that, and I'm going into detail on it tonight.
Ooh,
and I don't even necessarily have anything against it. I just think it's weird as hell.
Let's do the proper commercial. Tim's talking about his show on YouTube, Curmudgeon in the Cellar. Episodes every Saturday at 8 a.m. sharp. Get your bowl of Fruit Loops, your big mug of milk, and
Fruit Loops is appropriate to be eating when you're listening to me.
Well, not only that, but this is episode, ladies and gentlemen, 3 something? I mean,
342. These are just the numbered ones. I got to go back and count. I bet I got 24 before I started numbering them.
I bet
Then
you
I
up. I
did
say
a
you're
bunch
bet you
of
the
shit during the
375 to
pandemic.
400.
You're obsessed with the lost episodes. When Tim started doing that, it's been what, 5 or 6 years ago now?
Yeah, well,
I've said this to Tim, so it's not like any shocking
Yeah.
revelation to him. But at the time he did it, in my head, I'm like, sure. How can I help? I was very dubious because that's a routine idea everybody has. Let's put our ugly faces on YouTube
But it's a commitment
and
too to
blab the
say I'm going
blab
to
and
do
gab
this
the
weekly.
gab, right? But what Tim has delivered is consistent good content,
Yep.
week in and week out, hundreds of episodes, and built an audience. And that's how you do it, folks. There's no way around putting in your 10,000 hours.
Yep. And that's what I do every Saturday morning. I grab my coffee and I watch Curmudgeon in a Cellar.
No, well, I recommend a can of Mountain Dew. That'll get you up and going and right into my.
If I could still consume a bowl of Captain Crunch and a regular sugared Mountain Dew, that's what I would eat and drink when I watched it.
Oh, Captain Crunch.
Oh God.
Okay, side thing here, because I know that the people watching this video are really interested in knowing about this. But what is everybody's favorite cereal? Just for the shits of it.
Oh, they just stopped making mine.
What is yours?
Quisp.
Really?
Very similar to Captain Crunch, and they continued to make it, and you could buy it on the internet and here locally at Jungle Gyms and I want to say Whole Foods, one of those garden stores.
Tim, your favorite cereal?
I don't eat cereal anymore.
What was your favorite cereal?
It's been so long, I don't know. Probably Raisin Bran.
I was getting ready to say, wasn't it like Columbia Gold or?
No, I don't eat that for breakfast. I wait till 11 o'clock or later.
Tim's favorite cereal was Kellogg's Corn Flake because it was so long ago there was just one flake. They'd only just invented it.
Oh,
yeah,
Tim, one finger salute. Eric, your favorite cereal?
Not because of that.
I wouldn't be these days, it's like JP is saying, it's probably going to be steel cut oats or Catalina Crunch, because that's the low carb cereal, which actually tastes like cereal. It doesn't taste like cardboard.
Mr. Gunn. No way do I need bran flakes. No, I need
Tim,
the
opposite. I think Mr. Gunn is saying you're full of crap.
No, I'm saying
I know Mr. Gunn.
Colon. my whole life has changed.
Well, I'm old fashioned. My favorite's just, believe it or not, Raisin Bran. Easy peasy, nice and easy. But my real favorite cereal is black and straight and strong. Black coffee.
I'm glad I'm not the only one doing coffee at this god awful hour time of night.
24/7.
I'll be pedantic and say you can't do that.
So,
and I've got to go. So good to see you all.
Tim, have a good night. Okay.
Pleasant rest of your night.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.
Bye. All right. Now, real quick thing that I would like to discuss, if you would like to, Jim, and that is, you wrote a really cool game, post-apocalyptic. You were the brainchild of it, correct?
Yeah, Mutant Crawl Classics for Goodman Games, and that entire. I obviously wrote the core book. A little backup help in the patron section from Bob Brinkman and David Beatty, and then laid out and designed everything through like the first 5 adventures.
Gotcha. Now, besides that, what are some of the other game products that you actually have created out there or had a hand in? Just kind of fill us in.
Oh, I'm not good at that kind of memory game. Lots of stuff for Goodman Games because sometimes, Goodman loves to do those $150 Judges Guild books that won't even fit on a regular shelf and giant Metamorphosis Alpha things. So my whole scheme back in the day was just to pitch Joe. That's how I got into Goodman Games. I watched the original Metamorphosis Alpha Kickstarter succeed till they hit one stretch goal adventure past what I knew they had writers for and pitched them one, and they took it. And I humbly think maybe I wrote the best Metamorphosis Alpha adventure Goodman's ever published. Because it was based on Red Dwarf to win a bet with the guy that just left the chat because he said you couldn't turn Red Dwarf into tabletop RPG content, so I took him up on it.
Really?
Really?
You can take anything, I think, and turn it into tabletop content. I mean, it's just how innovative are you to do it?
But for Goodman Games, Mutant Crawl Classics, some contributions to their Empire of the East book, the first Judges Guild book, that original Metamorphosis Alpha thing, a book not because of what I wrote, but because of all the authors, I highly recommend, called How to Write Adventures That Don't Suck. They still sell that book, and it's fabulous. Good stuff for aspiring writers, or just if you're running a game for your group and are running out of ideas and approaches. For Frog God Games, some Creatures in Tomb of Horrors, and some contributions to
Which
their
ones?
version of Bunnies and Barrels.
Give us one of the creatures you did for Tomb of Horrors.
They republish that book frequently through the years, so you'd have to go back to, it was the 5e version, and my contributions, although I'm not listed in the credits, was the polychromatic boulets. So basically just shattered the standard boulet into different types of boulets that all had special and weird powers. And I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff. There are covers, art, and some cartoons in the back of Knights at the Dinner Table. Way back in the day, some stuff for Judges Guild, and Tim's magazine Adventure Gaming, which is how Tim and I met.
Yep.
Yeah, Jerry Tell, I have every single thing they publish for that Red Dwarf RPG, and I would love to run it, but I would not use the system in their books. I would just go ahead and DCC it.
That makes
on the fly
probably more sense. DCC is good for Gonzo, and Red Dwarf was Gonzo.
Yeah, the Metamorphosis Alpha adventure is you end up on the cargo decks. And see, here's the same reoccurring Jim problem. It's a fine idea to say, okay, I'm going to do an adventure based on Red Dwarf. It all takes place in the cargo decks. You're going to meet the cat people, blah, 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 blah. But then I get the brilliant idea, well, how do you generate a cargo deck that's 50 miles long and 10 miles wide? So I, in the adventure, give you all the tables you need to generate whatever direction you want to go on that cargo deck.
And we had this conversation just the other day on the phone about, or no, maybe it was Eric. No, it was Eric on his video about tables. Bring tables back. Tables are good to have in a game, you know?
Everybody's different. Some people struggle with writing tables. Tables are my thing. I'll bat you out a D20 result of whatever you want in a day.
Well, you know, I just did a video. I put it up. I did it earlier today, but I put it up tonight. It's on the Dread Laronomicon. It's Raging Swan Press. They do the books of tables, but this is about lairs, and it's for inspiration. I always look at
what's it called again, Eric? Sorry,
the Dread Laronomicon. And the Dread Laronomicon. Raging Swan Press. The great thing about Raging Swan Press is they give previews that are about, I don't know, in this case, 50 pages long. So you can get usable game content out of their preview on drive-thru and run with it. But I love their books that are like this because the charts are inspirational. I can pick and choose. I don't necessarily roll on charts. I like to read the chart and go, all right, that inspires me. I mean, I'll roll if I am looking at that movie.
Yeah.
I want to go through it and go, oh wait, that one talks to me. I can see where that goes. You know, it's there to inspire, and that's why I like it. So Raging Swan Press stuff is very good. You can find it on sale in PDF like a deal of the day. Grab their stuff, honestly.
Now, St. Cuthbert, no worries. Family time comes first. Now, Jim, where are you headed to this year when it comes to conventions? Now, I know that you're coming to WizardCon. Are you going to be at GaryCon this year?
GaryCon, WizardCon, and North Texas Con are my cons for 2025.
Excellent. We're actually going to try to make it to North Texas this year ourselves. Me and Tina are going to try to make it down there. I just want to go just to go and experience the convention.
I can't say in public which one is my very favorite to attend, North Texas Con, but I'll see you there.
You know what? The thing is and this is the whole thing with me. I don't see why anybody who even runs a convention would take offense if you chose not their convention as your favorite.
You know
Because
how people are, especially online. I constantly say it's no bang on this when doing a comparison contrast.
Right.
Like there was something Shadow Dark. I like Shadow Dark a great deal and more than I like Swords and Wizardry, but I love and have played Swords and Wizardry for a decade or more. It's no bang on
yeah,
Swords and Wizardry to say I think Kelsey Dion did some clever things, and it's
yeah,
North Texas. In Eric will remember this.
Yeah.
There was a time maybe 10, 12 years ago where there was a triple crown of OSR conventions. It was Gary Con, North Texas Con, and Gamehole Con. They were all about 500 or 600 people,
Yeah.
and full of people, special guests that people of our generation would enjoy having as special
Right.
guests. And those were golden times. They're gone now, except North Texas Con is still that way.
Right. And I hate to. This isn't a slight to any other con, but I judge my conventions against North Texas. North Texas is my
Yeah.
home away from home. All right. It's like the I can't miss it. I can't miss it. But I'm going to Page next week. It should be a lot of fun. We're trying to go into TotalCon in a month and a half. That's going to be awesome. Love TotalCon. Angelia, I know was in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
They wanted.
Oh, TotalCon gets my highest recommendation. I just can't. I've been in a position where I'm not able to fly,
Yeah.
and I'm ending that boycott to go to this year's North Texas Con.
Oh, awesome! We'll look forward to seeing you. Then we're gonna have WizardCon. We're gonna have North Texas. We're gonna have Central New York Con the weekend after North Texas.
That's another one I want to go to because man, I've said there's just the way he's putting that flippin' show on the pre-advertising. It just tells me that he's got some creative cojones. That guy does.
And then you know what? If you're gonna do a 2-day con and you have it Saturday, Sunday, I'm retired, but believe me, I know a lot of people who like maybe they can extend a weekend one day or the other. This is great if somebody wants to like go to your con and all right, I can leave Monday morning and be relaxed when I go back to work on Tuesday, or even if they can't, they can just be there for the weekend. Great timing, and of course ShireCon. So I got 6 cons on my con list for this year. Fly to one, drive to the rest of them. So,
and you, Jim, will be going. Like I said, you're going to GaryCon, North Texas.
Yeah, and maybe sometime in a hypothetical future TotalCon again. My primary care physician just didn't want me flying the second the pandemic hit because I have immune system issues.
oh yeah.
Yep, I get it. So, okay, Jim. I mean, you can't say anything about WizardCon because you haven't experienced it yet. Neither have I. But let me ask you a question. In your opinion, when you look at North Texas, do you look at GaryCon? What are your opinion of the highlights of both? Not saying which one's better, but when you look at each one, what are some of the good highlights of each
I
one?
can do ads for any of the cons I've been to because they're fantastic, and I want to say more about TotalCon because the advantage what TotalCon reminds me of is the science fiction conventions I used to attend when I was a teenager in the 70s, because there's an organized group of people that have run that convention successfully for generations now.
Yeah.
And Angelia was at one point in charge of at least a special guest. But when she retired out, somebody just as great replaced her. And it's that kind of year-to-year handoff creates a family atmosphere, both for if you want to bring your kids or family in the sense of us together as gamers. It's just a sweet, sweet convention, and I would like to go. I just got to get over this flying thing. We'll see how North Texas Con goes. North Texas Con, Bad Mike. I'm glad he's not here, so I can talk nice about him. Bad Mike and Gary Oliver. Not enough good things can be said about how they handled the transition from Doug Ray's passing. Because prior to Doug dying, that was his con, and he ran it his way. And they have somehow mastered keeping all the good stuff Doug did, and then actually improving some things like not losing money.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
Right.
Yeah,
Which
might be a while.
It was Doug's money to lose, so who cared? Back then, it was just his party. And one year, he called me and just said, "We want you." I hadn't written or done anything in the beginning, and he's just like, "I just want you here." Here's a plane ticket in a hotel room. Doug used to do crap like that.
Nice.
Gary Con, you can't top because Lake Geneva's Mecca for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And not everybody's a tragic introvert like me, and several thousand people stuffed into a hotel too small for that is not a barrier to entry for them.
Now, aren't they
it has changed
making
and
it
grown,
bigger
but
now?
it's still great, huh?
Aren't they moving Gary Con though?
No.
Not that I know of.
I heard a rumor, and again, it's just probably internet bullshit, but I heard that they were moving it to Milwaukee.
I think there's been a push by many of the attendees to move it to Milwaukee. But the last time I spoke to Luke,
he's never moving that convention.
Yeah.
Man, he's doing himself a disservice, I think.
Yeah, well, it is.
Let me defend Luke. It's a Gordian knot problem that's insoluble. Yeah. Well, no, you could probably dissolve it in water. It's insolvable. That's what I meant to say. Because it's gotten too big for Lake Geneva. Lake Geneva can't handle it, but it has to stay in Lake Geneva. So what do you do? And Luke's tried everything. He tried breaking it into 2 cons, and I'm unsure of how successful that effort was.
Well, I can tell you just from my little neck of the corner of the gaming universe, which is about a speck about 30 million light years away in that corner, which is nothing. It was not well received as far as by people. Yeah.
But people get so cranked up about this stuff. Some of it's just a way of things. This is how new cons start. Is with attendee dissatisfaction, and that's already happened to Gary Con years and years and years ago. One of the partners was a guy named Chris. I'm blanking on his last name, but he's the guy who founded and still runs Nexus Game Fair. Because he was a partner at Gary Con. I don't think this is a corporate secret. I hope I'm not spilling any beans here. And he's not incorrect in that his business sense was we have to grow this con, and to grow it we need to move it, and that wasn't going to happen. So he just departnered himself and went off and started his own game con, and that's how new conventions start.
Gotcha. Well, I think that and I really hope, and I'm not just doing this because of WizardCon. I really hope people support and really start getting heavily into game conventions because, man, talk about a way just for people to get together, put faces and names, and it's like I've already met you face to face, and met Eric and his wife just the other weekend, and it's just really nice to be able to meet people. And just a little bit that we did, breaking bread with you and Tim and breaking bread with you and Rach. It's just nice to sit down with people and talk and just and can imagine adding gaming to it. It's just such a nice experience.
Yeah.
And
I personally, there were people, and I understand why they were upset when Gary Con went from, say, 600 or 700 people to a couple of thousand. People who started in the old days, like my first Gary Con was Gary Con 4, were upset about the changes because it was changing. But again, some of that's just the inevitable way things go. We're all getting older. The youngsters have got to come. The next generation's got to come in from somewhere.
Yep. Well, Jim, you know what? It is 9:10. Eric has his Discord Thursday nights chat. Not trying to cut this off short, but we try to keep it about an hour, and I know you got...
So you're coming to North Texas Con, and Eric, you and Rach, too?
Oh, we don't miss North Texas, dude.
Yeah.
The year the world shut down, we missed it, but then again, I was hospitalized 3 times that year. But
what an excuse maker.
I know.
All you had was congestive heart failure.
And a little sepsis early in the year. What's sepsis amongst friends?
That's right. Take a Tylenol. Be like we do in the military. Take a Tylenol and dry
walk it off. Yeah, walk it off. Don't worry, walk it off.
So, but Jim, again, everybody, mudpuppygames.com. Go to his website. I highly, highly suggest Marvin the Mage and Dungeon Crawl Classics. I think that is just products you need to buy from him.
I highly recommend Dungeon Crawl Classics also, but Mutant Crawl Classics ain't bad either.
Never mind. It's Mutant Crawl Classics. My apology, Jim. Don has it set up his ass. Let me go ahead and adjust my glasses. They're fixed.
You want to really do it old school, the way Gary and Dave used to do it, you mix them. And Weird Frontiers, too. Somebody in the chat's the only DCC they ever had is Weird Frontiers, and Dave Beatty's game gets my highest recommendation.
That's awesome.
But again, thank you for coming on the show. Much appreciated, Tim.
Thank you
If
for
you're out
having
there
me.
somewhere, thank you very much.
Yes.
And yeah, everybody, again, mudpuppygames.com. Like and subscribe. Go over to Curmudgeon in the Cellar. It's on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll put a link in the comments here when we're done here, and hit a subscribe to Jim's channel. Every Saturday morning he releases his Saturday morning videos, and it's good stuff. It's not bullshit. He reads people's. He's one of the few creators out there. He'll read your comments and he answers them. So he'll answer your questions and do the following week if he can.
For viewers that go all the way back to when Dragon's Foot forums were a big deal, and Gary had his channel, and Frank had his channel, and Tim had his channel, and they answered questions. That's all Tim's show is answering viewer questions.
That's right. And not many people do that anymore. And as everybody knows with Tim, you get it plain, honest, and straightforward and accurate. And that's a rare thing these days. So everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Vlog of Many Things tonight. Again, Jim, salute, sir. Thank you. Everybody in the comments, thank you very much. And please hit like and subscribe on the respective channel you're watching on. And we'll be back next Thursday. And everybody,